One of the most difficult aspects of designing a home is choosing a color palette, as there are just so many options and combinations you can go for. In this video, I'll go through the basics of color theory, as well as all the steps you should go through to choose the perfect color palette for your home. Before choosing a color palette for your home, it is important to get a basic understanding of color theory, including hues, tints, tones, shades, as well as color schemes. Hues are all the colors on the color wheel. These colors can be divided into three categories: primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. You use a mixture of these to create a color scheme. Tints, tones, and shades are created by altering hues by either adding white, gray, or black to them. A tint is created by adding white to a hue. Tones are created by adding gray, and shades are created by adding black. Tones can be further broken down into two categories: warm and cool tones. Cool tones have a blue, violet, or green tinge, while warm tones have hints of red, orange, or yellow in them. Cool tones are generally calming and soothing, while warm tones have a cozy feeling. Finally, there are color schemes such as analogous, complementary, monochromatic, as well as split complementary and triadic. Analogous color schemes involve three hues that are right next to each other on the color wheel. An example may be yellow, yellow-orange, and orange, or violet, blue-violet, and blue. Complementary color schemes involve two colors that are opposite each other, where many tints, tones, and shades of those two colors are used. An example may be green and red, or yellow and violet. This scheme has very high contrast, so it is important to use one color as the dominant color and the other as an accent, otherwise it will be too overwhelming in an interior design context. Monochromatic color schemes are the simplest scheme, where you work with every tint, tone, and shade that exists within a singular color. Monochromatic color schemes can at times look one-dimensional and boring, so you should add texture and patterns to the interior to enhance visual interest. Triadic color schemes take every fourth color on the color wheel, so you end up with three colors that are evenly spaced out. This isn't a common color scheme for interiors, as it is very bold. Step 1. Establish mood. Good color palettes are one that convey the mood or atmosphere you want to have in your home. That is why you should reverse engineer your color palette by first deciding the mood you want to have in your home and then choose the color. Use your current home as a starting point. Are the current colors in your home too dark, too bright? Do they feel flat or are too busy? What atmosphere do these color combinations currently create? What do you like or dislike about the current mood? Then make a list of moods or feelings you want your space to convey and choose colors accordingly. For example, you may want a calm and relaxing atmosphere, and therefore choose cool tone color as they recede and fade. On the contrary, you may want a warm and welcoming atmosphere, and subsequently choose warm tone colors. Step 2. Find inspiration. Next, browse for inspiration. You may look through Pinterest, create mood boards, or take cues from your fashion style, clothing, or other things you're naturally drawn to. While looking for inspiration, you may realize that you tend to gravitate towards neutrals, but this process will hopefully help you identify whether you prefer a warm organic neutral look or a black and white color scheme. Ultimately, choosing a color from a source that inspires you will result in an interior that you're happier with and less likely to alter anytime soon. Step 3. Choose your dominant and secondary colors. While you may have a favorite hue in mind from your inspiration source, you need to make sure that it will work with the existing architecture and interior design of your home. Unchangeable elements and non-negotiables such as fixed finishes like wood floors, wall tiles, or faucets, as well as the color of irreplaceable pieces of furniture will narrow the selection of color options that will work in your space. Consider the undertone of any wood, metal finishes, or soft furnishings in your home and plan your color scheme around that. Once you have decided on a dominant color, plan the rest of your palette around it. Refer to the color schemes I discussed at the beginning of the video to choose colors that go well together. If you already have a color in mind and are struggling to find colors that work well together, a good hack is to use the Canva color wheel tool, where you can simply pick your dominant color and a scheme, and it will do the rest of the job for you. Alternatively, If you're inspired by a certain image, you can upload it to the Canva color palette generator, which will automatically create a color palette based on the image. Here are some examples of designers building a palette around a dominant color. This designer has chosen sage green as their dominant color for their kitchen, and based the rest of the palette on complementary muted tones such as beige, browns, and grays. Another example is his bedroom, where the designer has chosen cream as their dominant color for their bedroom and extended the palette with various shades of beige and light brown. Step 4. Repeat colors but with variants. Within your chosen color palette, make sure you use different tints, tones, and shades throughout your space. For example, you may use one tint, shade, or tone on your walls, and a different tint, shade, or tone on a vase or artwork. By repeating variations of the same color, you will create rhythm, a design principle that creates a sense of harmony in a room. The variation will also increase visual interest and stop the room from looking dull and flat, which often happens when you only use a single shade of the same color. Step 5. Combine cool and warm tones. Also consider combining cool and warm tones within your chosen palette, as it will create a sense of balance in an interior. A space with too many cool tones will feel cold and unwelcoming, while one with too many warm tones will feel closed in or stuffy. If you're using a complementary or split complementary color scheme, you most likely already be combining cool and warm tones. The problem often arises with a monochromatic or analogous color scheme. If you're using one of these schemes, be mindful of having both warm and cool tones. For example, in a monochromatic red scheme, have both warm reds, ones with the yellow bias, as well as cool reds, ones with the bluish bias. Step 6. Consider the 60-30-10 rule. You should apply the 60-30-10 rule so the color is proportionate. The rule is that 60% should be a dominant color, 30% should be your secondary color, and 10% should be an accent color. The 60% color is usually used on walls, 30% color used on furniture, rugs, and curtains, and 10% on decor items such as vases, throws, and candles. While this is a good rule to keep in mind, don't get too hung up on the exact numbers. Simply use them as a general guideline. Step 7. Test out your chosen colors. As soon as you have your palette sorted out, test it out with samples. You don't want to rely on the tiny paint swatches you collected from the store, as they will not reflect their true color in the unique lighting conditions of your home. Instead, paint a few different samples on your wall to see how they look in your lighting. Also take note of how the colors appear at different times of the day, as it will look very different in direct sunlight versus overcast daylight or artificial light. Some brands also offer a paint swatch sticker, which you can order directly online or in store. Alternatively, you can get third-party ones from various different places. This allows you to stick the paint swatch on the wall or furniture without leaving any residues. Painting a room is daunting, as it is a big commitment. Luckily, there are many ways you can add or swap colors in an interior that are less permanent. This can be easily achieved if you have a neutral base such as white walls and neutral tone furniture, but not limited to that. You can then incorporate color by adding throw pillows or blankets, flowers, budget artwork, plants, or books into your interior. If you want something more permanent but on a smaller scale, you can consider changing your cabinet or door hardwares, or even paint existing doors or furniture. If you want a big splash that is less permanent, you can also try switching your rug, changing your curtains, or even putting up some removable wallpaper. I hope that this video has given you a better understanding on choosing a color palette for your home. Let me know in the comment section below if you want me to go deeper into the basics of color theory. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.